When I was in my 20s, I had a roommate and I lived in an apartment and my room was really tiny and it was a mess. I had stuff everywhere. And so I told my roommate, I'm gonna declutter and get my room into a better state. So I'm gonna go to Target and I'm gonna get some organization bins. So I went to Target and I picked up about 5 big plastic bins. And I spent the afternoon filling all of the bins with all of my stuff. I got the 5 bins organized in the corner. And my room looked pretty good. It looked a lot cleaner. The crazy part of this story, though, is I didn't actually get rid of anything. And what's even worse is some of those bins I never opened again. And I ended up moving even a couple of them from apartment to apartment and even to this house that we're in today. I finally went through the last of those bins a couple of years ago. It was filled with skincare and makeup. So my point here with telling this story is my first rule of minimalism. And I really think you should live by this rule. And you hear it before and I've shared it before, but just to bring it home, always declutter before you organize. Do not go and get a bunch of organization bins and get a bunch of organization systems and then try to organize your clutter. You cannot organize your way out of this clutter. It's just not going to happen. And I'm going to tell you, I don't even think you should buy those organization systems or get those bins. And I have 2 reasons for that. Number 1, sometimes I think that those systems, they're very well-intentioned and well-meaning, but then they just become clutter themselves and they contribute to the clutter. And then the second problem, I think having hidden clutter or hidden mess is just the worst kind of clutter. It is the hardest to get in control of. And the reason is because you think in your mind, oh, my clutter is hidden. It's not a problem. I can't see it. So therefore it's not a problem. But it's always there in the back of your mind. And it is a problem. So just think about things like your closets, your cabinets, your attic, your basement. Because if your clutter is hidden in those places, you never actually have to see it, so you think you don't actually have to deal with it. And this kind of is a good little segue to my second point, and this one actually comes from the Minimalists. If you watch them, I think they have a podcast, and they're on YouTube as well. They have a rule, and it's called the out in the open rule. And I love this rule, and I think that it's one of those things that I've just been doing for many years, but I didn't really realize that it had a name. And what the rule is that you're gonna get your cluttered space out into the open. So think about things like a cabinet or like a drawer, and you're just gonna take everything out so that it's out in the open. And by doing this, you will see all of the things you have, and it's really gonna compel you to remove some things. It's going to compel you to get that area uncluttered. Because once you see it, you're kind of forced to deal with it, and it becomes really clear to you what you want to keep, what you want to get rid of. The way I like to use this rule, though, is I mostly like to use this for small spaces. I don't like to do this for a big open room or space or even my clothing closet. I don't like to just take everything and get it out in the open. I like to do this for smaller things. So if you've got a drawer or if you have a cabinet, this works perfectly. And it's not overwhelming because it's a small area. So just pick one area and get it out into the open. If you enjoy content like this that helps you simplify your life, don't forget to click that subscribe button below. It's free. Okay, this next rule, I actually find it to be so straightforward and so simple to follow. That's why I love it. It's the 1 in, 1 out rule. Now, I know you've heard this rule if you've been doing any bit of decluttering or you've watched any videos, but I'm going to give you a little twist on this rule because the 1 in, 1 out rule basically says that if you get something coming into your home, you need to get something out of your home that's in that same category. So for example, if you are getting a new winter coat, you need to go through your coats and get rid of a coat that you already have. And so then you're never going to have too many coats. I like to think about this 1 in, 1 out rule more in terms of volume or size. So if I'm bringing something into the home and say it's the size of a winter coat, I need to remove the same volume of things from my home or the same size of things from my home. I actually did this at Christmas. I did kind of talk about this a little bit in a video. We just got back from the holidays and we had gotten some things from our family, Christmas gifts and things like that. Also Santa came, and we probably had about a laundry basket's worth of stuff coming into the home. So what I did is I went through my house and I got rid of a laundry basket's worth of stuff. And so that way, the same volume that was coming in, the same volume was going out, and I was decluttering and donating. And actually, this is the first year that I didn't feel overwhelmed with where to put things. A lot of times we get home from Christmas, we're usually out of town for Christmas, and a lot of times we get home from Christmas, and then it's like, oh my gosh, where is this gonna go? Where are we gonna store this? But this year, it wasn't like that. It was not even an issue. It's not a perfect science, but you get what I'm saying with the volume or size of things. This next rule of minimalism, and if you can do this one, I think you will have won and your house will be completely uncluttered. I personally am working on this. I can't do it. It's a little bit harder, so let me explain. The rule is that everything in your home should have a home. So this rule basically means whatever you have, it needs to have a designated space and you need to put it there. This is a really hard rule, I think, to do when you live with other people because other people are constantly bringing things into your house, at least in my house, and I feel like a lot of people are the same. I even kind of had this with my husband. I was cleaning out the back of our house and I had arranged his weights. He has a bunch of weights for working out, and I arranged them under a table kind of hidden away. So they're still there, but you can't see them. And he told me that he needs to see his weights, and if he can't see his weights, it's not going to remind him to work out. He's going to forget. He's not going to work out. Okay, so what I had to do is make a new home for those weights, one where he could actually see the weights so that he would use them. And then I had to move some things that were already there and put them in a different place and find a new home for them. You get where I'm going with this. All of your stuff needs to have a place where it goes and a place to be put away, whether it's a place that you can see or not. And that's gonna really help your clutter problem, because the key to making this work is if you have stuff and you just cannot figure out where it goes, you cannot find a place for it, you don't know what to do with it, that's a really big sign that you probably don't need it. This next rule is for sure my favorite, and I'm gonna be very focused in 2025 on doing this rule, and I'm gonna just tell you what I've even already done to do this rule. The rule is to always ask yourself if you really need something. I find that sometimes I get caught up in this idea of owning something or buying something, and I just get it into my head, and then I do some research, I'm thinking about it, and I start thinking, picturing my future life with this item, and I really haven't stepped back and said to myself, do I actually need this? And I also noticed if I kind of stop my search and stop thinking about it, after a few days, I'm kind of forgetting what I wanted and it's fading away. And a lot of times after a week or two, I don't even want it anymore. So I'm working really hard to ask myself if I want something, and if I do want it, I'm actually sitting on it for a few weeks. And I'll just tell you, I recently did this with my coffee pot. So if you've been watching my channel, you know I'm trying to find a coffee pot that is a drip coffee maker and it doesn't have plastic. This has not been an easy feat, and guess what? I can't find one. So I've decided to get a percolator. And this is all stainless steel, no plastic, perfect. I know that I want to stop drinking coffee that's been made in plastic. I don't want any of my water being heated up in plastic. So I know I want this, but I'm still sitting on it. And I sat on it for weeks, for several weeks. I want to say I've been sitting on this for 3 weeks. I actually just hit purchase 2 days ago. So my coffee pot, my percolator is on the way, and I'm really excited about it. But I really told myself I need to sit on it and I need to decide, do I actually want it? And every morning that I'm drinking my coffee from my conventional coffee maker, I'm thinking, oh, I really just need to buy that percolator. Well, I've bought it and it's coming, but this is just how I'm implementing this rule, and I'm gonna do this with everything. I am really going to ask myself, do I need it? And if you want to take this a step further and ask yourself if you need it, also try to picture it in your house and picture where you're going to put it. Because sometimes just the simple act of me thinking like, where will this go? And I look around my house and I realize I have no space for it. Sometimes just doing that is enough. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. Those are my 5 rules from minimalism to live by. I think these are really helpful rules. And if you're decluttering, you're simplifying your life, you're simplifying your home, I have got a bunch of videos. I'm gonna link them. I'll just link a playlist here. So click on it and I'll see you over there. Bye-bye.